Tom and Lynette Craft's love story spans decades.
Lynette and Tom seemed very affectionate. They were usually kissing or hugging.
They tried every minute they had to get together.
But dark secrets arouse dangerous obsessions.
He threatened that he'd blame it on her.
Stop it! Stop!
She didn't want to get rid of anything.
There was a lot of fighting.
And the romance is ripped apart.
We started looking through mounds and mounds of trash.
You could see drag marks going down the hallway.
She made a vow, and that was a vow till death do us part.
Love may be blind and marriage bliss, but divorce is murder. After 4 years away at college, high school sweethearts Tom Craft and Lynette Craft returned to their hometown.
After Tom and Lynette graduated from Whitewater High School, Tom followed his career path of mechanical engineering at the Milwaukee School of Engineering.
What a beautiful day.
My sister Lynette went to the Alverno Nursing College, which is also in Milwaukee. They each had their own place. She stayed on campus, he stayed nearby.
It was difficult for them to not see each other, and they tried every minute they had to get together.
Lynette and Tom were opposites in many ways.
I can't believe we're back.
Is that a good thing?
My sister being very vivacious, gregarious, outgoing, and friend of everybody.
Oh my God, you guys! Come here!
She was just the sweetest person and very caring.
Oh my God, it's been so...
She cared about everyone.
This is my boyfriend, Tom. Tom, come here. Amy and Stacy, say hi.
Tom was somebody who was always a little bit withdrawn. He was an introverted only child, so he wasn't in any way outgoing. That's kind of how he was, just somebody who kept to himself and kept rather quiet.
Look at him, that's so great.
Lynette was attracted to Tom because he was such an introvert.
Oh, well, it was really good to see you girls.
She wanted to bring him out of his shell and bring him into her circle of friends.
Go.
They seemed very happy together.
Nice to meet you again.
Opposites attract, but now the couple is at a crossroad, and they may be pulled in different directions. Tom has finished engineering school at the top of his class.
I meant to tell you sooner.
Tom was a brilliant student.
You got the job. I mean, of course you did. This is amazing.
Tom received his job offer right out of college. They made paper products ranging from cereal boxes to toilet paper, and it was a very great career for a person 22 years old just out of college.
I'm so happy for you.
In contrast, Lynette's academic career has fizzled.
What am I gonna do without you?
Lynette was unable to finish her nursing degree because she had trouble taking blood. She really didn't like the sight of blood, and that was one of the reasons that she failed her co-assessments.
We're a team. We'll figure it out.
She had hoped to graduate in 4 years, but fell 2 credits or 2 classes short of getting her 4-year degree.
Lynette was the type of person that never gave up on any project that she ever did. And in her mind, this was a failure. And this was her first failure that she had ever had.
Dealing with uncertainty is difficult for Lynette, but Tom has just the solution.
You know what? I'm not gonna go if you're not coming.
Okay.
Is that a question?
Lynette saw stability in Tom. She saw that he was somebody who had a life plan, and he came from a wealthy family, so there was financial stability. My parents have been married for over a half a century, and she wanted to have a long-term relationship with someone.
I'll come with you. There's only one condition, bucko. If we're gonna be living together.
When Tom received his job offer in Ohio, that only meant one thing for Lynette, that she would have to get married.
Mr. and Mrs. Quas, please, come over here.
Our family was raised in the Catholic Church. We went to church every Sunday. If we were sick, we still went to church. There were no exceptions.
Everything okay?
We were raised to the T, kind of the old-fashioned way, where you didn't cut any corners, and you just followed all the church teachings.
Well, you know I'm not a very religious man, but when it comes to your daughter, I would do anything.
After 7 years of dating, they marry in a traditional Catholic wedding.
When Lynette told me that she was getting married to Tom, she was ecstatic. She had always been looking forward to getting married, and she was a beaming bride. She was the first of all of our group of friends to get married, so it was quite an event.
Lynette was radiating. Tom was obviously nervous. And when he would pull her tight for a picture sometimes, she would just blush. It was so cute. She was just so pretty.
Everybody seemed happy. It was a great day. Wonderful memories of that day.
Tom's new job is in Toledo, 6 hours away. So the newlyweds find a house in one of the city's bedroom communities.
She would call often and tell us how they found this great house with a pool and a quiet cul-de-sac, very nice neighbors that she got to know.
Hey, come here.
It wasn't a high-end mansion or anything, but made her very comfortable. That was all that she'd ever wanted. She thought they had achieved that together.
Just want to look at this with you. Can't believe it.
All it needs is a little boy and a little girl.
Is that a proposition?
Lynette and Tom seemed very affectionate. They were usually kissing or hugging, and they seemed to be, in love and happy.
Relationship expert Stacy Kaiser and forensic psychologist Brian Russell think Lynette and Tom have a lot going for them, but worry about Lynette's decision to quit school.
It does worry me that Lynette has given up her schooling after she had already been in it for so long, because it's part of her life, it's the way she was developing, and I'm concerned that moving forward, she's not gonna have a true sense of her own identity. It's all gonna be tied to her husband.
I question the entire reason Lynette quit the nursing program. It makes me wonder if being a housewife and following Tom was really what she wanted to do anyway, so maybe it wasn't really that traumatic for her to have to quit the nursing program. Tom does not encourage Lynette to finish her nursing degree or to replace it with something else. Some guys actually like that because they think that that is going to make them more secure in their relationship, make the woman less likely to leave them, and what really it ends up doing is creating space for resentment to build in.
The Crafts settle comfortably into their new home. Since Lynette doesn't work, Tom gives her a weekly allowance for their household expenses.
Good morning, honey.
Good morning. I made your favorite.
Ah, thank you so much.
They had a great income that he was able to secure through his engineering job. They were able to buy nicer vehicles. They were able to buy toys. They didn't have any issues at all.
Lynette sets out to be the best homemaker she can be.
My sister, like many females, she loves to shop, and she would, enjoy going shopping sprees.
She was very organized, and she'd have her to-do lists. She'd have her reminders, and she was meticulous at it.
Anytime Lynette had a thought or there was something going on with her that day, she would literally write it down on a small note or a sticky note or just a torn piece of paper.
She always had at least 1 or 2 spiral notebooks with her with list after list after list.
Oh, hey, Mom, I was just about to call you.
She also remains close with her family.
Oh, yeah, I'm good. It's just, I haven't really made any real friends yet.
Lynette and my mom loved to talk on the phone. My parents weren't real thrilled about losing Lynette to that great of a distance.
Mom, I'm not gonna go knocking on people's doors trying to make friends.
She didn't really know anybody there.
Actually, you know what, Mom? You just gave me a really good idea.
She takes on part-time work, selling beauty products door to door.
She really enjoyed both the atmosphere of dealing with other human beings.
Hello, I'm your new next-door neighbor, Lynette, and I'd love to show you some new beauty products that I love.
She wasn't sitting at home all day. She enjoyed the paycheck at the end of it.
I can see we're gonna be good friends, Lynette. Come on in.
She was able to go out and do her own thing. She was her own boss, but yet she was selling a product that she believed in.
And of course, she attends the local Catholic church.
Lynette had always been very religious, and when she moved to Ohio, she continued to go to church on a regular basis.
She believed that by following the 10 Commandments and the Golden Rule, that's how your life would be much better off and you'd get to an eternal life.
For his part, Tom excels at work.
Guess what?
Another promotion?
Yes.
After being hired as an engineer and starting at the entry level at age 22 or so, he had risen up to the point where he had supervisory experience over people. They lived a perfect American life.
But everything changes with the birth of their first son, David. Tom is a proud father.
Tom loved their son very much. He was a good father.
But he's worried about his wife.
She had a harder delivery and had a few problems afterwards.
Here, would you take him?
Yeah.
Lynette develops health problems.
Lynette, after the birth of their first son, got diabetes and high blood pressure.
Over time, the once chipper young woman grows easily tired and withdrawn.
She just didn't seem as bubbly and happy as normal.
Leaving Tom with a very different wife than the one he married.
Thomas would say that Lynette was hard to live with. She was depressed.
The pressure of having a demanding career, a new baby, and a sickly wife starts to get to Tom.
Tom smoked pot, needed it to relax. Lynette didn't do drugs, didn't drink, she might have an occasional glass of wine.
But his secrets, combined with her sadness, will prove to be a toxic cocktail.
It was cheaper than going to a drug dealer.
I was like, did you cheat on him?
Tom and Lynette Craft's marriage starts to unravel after the birth of their first child, David. She develops health issues. He smokes pot. And before long,
Hey, you two. What's up?
Tom starts to feel neglected by his wife.
Lynette loved taking David for a walk around the neighborhood because she loved to show him off. She would call me anytime her son hit his first milestone, whether it was crawling, walking, or pulling himself up on a table. She was so excited and so happy that he was growing and learning.
She had 100% focus on him since she didn't have to work or have a job to go to from 8 to 5.
Let's go to the park.
She could give all of her attention to their son.
Tom tries to bond with her in the only way he knows how.
Tom demanded sex from her several times a day.
But she just doesn't have the same sex drive.
Not right now. I'm busy.
Tom was asking her to have sex all the time.
She gives in to his desires more often than she'd like. But distances herself in other ways.
No, yeah, everything's great. You know, you really should come down and visit Davy.
We kept calling and talking to each other because Lynette was so lonely.
Lynette? I just received our phone bill. What the hell could you be talking about for 2 hours on the phone?
Let me just call you back.
Back in those days, long distance was a big deal. It was, I think, 10 or 20 cents a minute.
I'm sorry, it's just I miss my friends. I was thinking
Just stop spending our money. Can you do that?
Tom saw that as excessive. He didn't want her calling friends or family very often. He saw himself as the sole breadwinner and therefore the controller of all the finances.
The tension only gets worse when Lynette makes a shocking discovery.
She found him growing pot in their basement closet, and she wasn't very happy about it. She was a by-the-book person, knew that that would be illegal. His reasoning, being frugal with his money, was if he grew his own pot, then it was cheaper and safer than him going to a drug dealer.
Hey, what are you...
How dare you hide this from me?
Look, I knew you'd react this way. It's just a couple plants.
I want these out of my house.
No. You don't touch these.
How could you do this to me?
What makes you such a saint, Lynette? What about all that stuff you've been hoarding? Yeah, hoarding in our bedroom. You know what? I'm sick of looking at that crap. You know what? They're out of here.
No, you come back here!
There was stuff piled up throughout the bedroom area of her room.
This is too much.
Her bedroom was very messy.
No, stop it! Stop it! Stop! No! Let go!
You have a problem, a serious problem. Serious problem you got here.
There were so many small notes throughout her bedroom. She was nonstop writing notes down.
There was zero chance that my sister was going to control Tom.
You know what? Guess what? This is my room too here.
He threatened that if she did anything with it or called the police, that he'd blame it on her. But at the same time, if she were to call the police or throw it away, he would just get angry.
You're an addict. You are going to put that out right now, or else.
You can't make me.
Give it! Oh yeah? Watch me! I will call the cops!
Open this door, Lynette.
Tom was growing quite a temper. It was escalating.
Open this.
Get out of here!
Open this door.
Get out of my house!
Open this door.
At times, he would punch holes in walls. There were holes that had been plastered over. He had punched through a door, their bedroom door one time.
Lynette still cares deeply for Tom, but can it last?
I'm not really surprised that Tom threw her own problems back in Lynette's face. That's very typical. It's the tit for tat thing. It's a way of deflecting off of himself. However, it is concerning to me that Lynette has this seeming compulsion to organize and hoard. What it tells me is that she's got a great deal of anxiety, she's having some compulsive behaviors, and that things could escalate.
The concerns that Tom is raising about Lynette's behavior are nowhere close to being on the same level of threat to the marriage as Tom's behavior is. Lynette is completely reasonable in confronting Tom and objecting to the fact that he's growing marijuana in their house, because if he gets caught, he could lose his job, lose his paycheck, and he's got kids.
Things get so tense that Lynette doesn't just lock Tom out of their room. She disappears.
Tom would go crazy. He didn't want her out of his sight and out by herself.
Where were you?
Sorry, I was at the mall.
What'd you buy?
Nothing. Just bought a couple things, but then I returned them.
He would regularly check up on her, find out where she was, what was she doing, was she with anyone?
Look, don't lie to me. You're a hoarder. You don't return things. You weren't at the mall, were you? Slut.
Don't you call me that! Don't you ever call me that again.
The verbal abuse had gone from being slight comments to, "You're a slut." And I'm like, "Did you cheat on him?" She was like, "No."
As a matter of fact, Lynette is hiding something. And when Tom finds out what it is, the repercussions will be grave.
She was afraid of eating anything at home anymore.
If she would say no, that would only make it worse.
After 11 years of marriage, Tom and Lynette Craft's union is less a tied knot and more a thread about to snap.
That was amazing.
Never again.
What are you talking about?
This isn't normal.
It didn't sound like Thomas and Lynette had a good marriage.
Normal? That's real funny coming from you, huh?
How dare you?
I know you've been cheating on me. Yeah, I know.
We need to see someone. We need marriage counseling.
We?
Lynette had gone to her priest saying that she needed help. You know, could we do counseling? And the priest said, sure.
I'm sorry, but to be bluntly honest here, you're the one who needs to be seeing someone. Alone.
Tom didn't think he needed to go and refused to go. He had no interest in that.
Lynette called me and told me that Tom had taken her to a psychiatrist. Tom thought that she had a mental illness and that she was unstable.
And just a few weeks into therapy, the doctor echoes his concerns.
The psychiatrist had given her a prescription and she told me it was for being bipolar.
Bipolar brings a lot of anxiety, depression. 1 minute you're up, 1 minute you're down. So that can take a toll on a person.
Good girl.
Lynette doesn't fully accept the diagnosis.
She did not like taking the medication because she didn't feel like herself and she knew that she didn't need it.
After 6 months, Tom is concerned when Lynette doesn't get better.
Honey. You okay?
She was not focusing and she just was walking around aimlessly. What do I do? What do I do? Where do I go?
My wife is not feeling good, and we need help.
Tom turns to professionals for help. Again.
Lynette was hospitalized for her conditions at times because she would get so low and depressed.
Doctors believe they know the reason.
Lynette took her medication for a little bit and then she called me and told me she stopped taking it.
And Tom is determined that never happens again.
If she stopped taking her medication, Tom would hide her medication in either her food or a drink so that she would still be taking the medication.
Some orange juice.
Thanks.
Pleasure.
What's in here?
Please. You know it's good for you.
Unbelievable.
No, please. Come back here. Jesus.
Let go of me!
It's for us!
She was afraid of eating anything at home anymore.
And Lynette's depression does nothing to quell Tom's sexual desires.
It wouldn't just happen once a day. It wouldn't just happen twice a day. It was happening all the time.
No.
As Lynette's phone calls dwindled, I started to become concerned about her.
Please?
I'm tired.
You can't say no to your husband.
Their sexual relationship went from a normal, healthy marriage to abusive, physical manhandling. He would force things on her that were not to her consent. If she would say no, that would only make it worse.
I feel like Tom is treating Lynette like an object and not a person. This isn't some level of intimacy where the two of them are coming together to enjoy themselves. This is Tom ordering her to do things, asking her to do things that make her uncomfortable. And the danger of this kind of setup is that it starts to build resentment for both of them. Tom feels like he's not getting his needs met. Lynette feels like her feelings aren't being considered, and so both of them are unhappy.
When one partner in a marriage, in this case Tom, wants a completely different frequency, a completely different kind of sexual intimacy than the other, it is a major flashpoint for conflict.
Lynette confesses to friends that she's at the end of her rope. And not just because Tom is forcing her to take medication.
He disconnected their long distance. She literally had to revert to getting calling cards or call collect to my mom.
Hi, I'd like to make a collect call, please.
He didn't want her calling friends or family very often.
Tom still can't shake the idea that Lynette might be cheating on him.
Friends and family would try calling and talk to Lynette, and Thomas wouldn't allow her to talk, or he would have to listen in.
I don't know if you have time to talk. I really need to talk to someone. Tom? Is that you? I'm on a collect call to Becky. Sorry, Becky. I'm gonna have to call you back when I'm alone.
Things come to a head when Lynette tries to gain some independence.
No, it's not gonna work.
Okay.
Forget about it.
What do you mean it's not a good idea?
She kept telling the neighbor, I just want to go back to nursing school and finish my degree. But he wouldn't allow her to go back to nursing school.
I work all day. I don't have time to take care of David, all right?
Well, you wouldn't have to. We could hire someone. People make this stuff work all the time.
She was very regretful that she didn't have her degree because she could have stepped away and made her own life.
13 years into the marriage, Lynette goes to her priest to get the church's approval for a divorce.
He makes me do things. Please.
She needed to leave the marriage, but her priest said no, a marriage is forever.
She was married for life in the eyes of the Catholic Church.
In her world, she made a vow, and that was a vow till death do us part.
Lynette is devastated at first, but big news surprises everyone.
I was really happy for her because I knew she always wanted a large family.
Secretly, she isn't that happy about being pregnant again.
She had no energy. She didn't have the energy to barely get out of bed.
In fact, she confesses to a neighbor she wants to end it all.
I look at this pool, and all I can see is myself floating in it face down. It's so peaceful.
She was in a dark place and went there for comfort to talk to a friend.
Or could it be a chilling premonition?
He was just very concerned for his daughter's safety.
She had left the child behind.
I was hyperventilating. I was literally like, this can't be true.
Lynette Craft feels trapped in her marriage to Tom. And now that she's pregnant with her second child, her desperation grows. But that changes when their son Benjamin is born.
Such a great mom.
And you're a great dad.
When the second child came, she was even happier. She was so happy to have an expanding family. It seemed like a perfect time for them.
Big life events can either bring people together or push them further apart. And so there is a possibility that the birth of this new child could bring Tom and Lynette together. They both love their kids, they both love family, and maybe they can start to reconnect and get happy again.
The birth of their second child could be a new starting point for Tom and Lynette if they use it as an occasion to realize that they're parents and that the number one mission that they have in life is to get their kids to adulthood as mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually healthy as possible. And so they've got to fix their marriage, if for no other reason than for the sake of these kids.
But their happiness is short-lived when a few months later,
I'm just going to the store. Do you mind taking care of Benjamin?
Yeah, of course.
Lynette disappears.
Don't be too long.
my daughter there, Tom?
No, she's out shopping right now. I'll tell her you called. Bye.
Hours go by.
Her father had called several times, and she'd not come home.
Yeah, I'll ask her to call you as soon as she gets back. Okay.
My dad got in the car and drove through the night.
He was just very concerned for his daughter's safety.
He let himself in with this key that he had. He entered the house about 3 or 4 a.m. When he awoke, Tom was surprised to see my dad.
What are you doing here? You shouldn't have come.
Where's Lynette, Tom?
Lynette's disappearance confirms Tom's long-standing fear.
Lynette's been seeing someone else. She's not gonna come back. Your daughter left me.
I know my daughter, Tom. And that's not like her.
Lynette's father goes downtown to speak with police.
The father contacted the Swanton Police Department to file a missing persons report.
Swanton PD immediately issues a BOL, or be on the lookout, for Lynette, and get results sooner than they expect. 60 miles from the Crafts' home, an employee at a fast food restaurant makes a horrific discovery.
He opened up the bag and found a lower portion of a leg and foot. And then he notified his manager, and his manager then contacted the sheriff's department.
It appeared the victim had been dismembered.
Can't believe it.
And it was very, if you'd say, a good job.
It's not right, you know.
These unfortunate body parts were cut very nice and clean. It was an unusual situation.
And that's not all.
We contacted the local trash removal agencies, and they had already picked up garbage, and some of it had already made it to the landfill. Myself, my sergeant, and another detective responded.
When we went to the landfill and started looking through mounds and mounds of trash, we did locate a bag. And once upon opening that, there was a shower curtain. And in that shower curtain, there was a severed head.
They also find an important clue.
There was also a pair of shorts that had blood on them. In the back pocket of those shorts was an ID for Lynette Craft.
We took the head to the morgue and we identified the head with her driver's license that we located. We came to the conclusion it was Lynette Craft.
Hi.
We need to speak to you both.
Sure, come in.
When we pulled up to the Craft residence, I asked Thomas Craft if I could speak with him inside the house, and my partner spoke with Lynette Craft's father.
We found your daughter, sir. I'm so sorry. She's dead.
Lynette Lynette's dad started crying. He was uncontrollable.
I had a total meltdown in my office. I was like, no. And I was hyperventilating. I was literally like, this can't be true.
I just remember thinking, this is surreal. What type of a sick person can cut up their body and leave it in the trash?
Could that sick person be Lynette's lover?
Tom reiterated she left me for someone else.
I work full time. You know, she's here. She was here every day from 9 to 5 alone.
Yeah, we're gonna need crime scene techs here as soon as possible.
We contacted the chief of Swanton PD, and he stated that he could get a team together to go process the house after we obtained a search warrant.
The Craft home had a lot of stuff in it.
It appeared as though Lynette was a hoarder. It didn't appear as though many things got thrown away, and I'm talking food wrappers, garbage, just anything you could think of.
But when they look into the possibility that Lynette was having an affair, they're in for a big surprise. The only person she's been seeing in secret is her best friend.
Hey, Bex. I made it.
She would never tell Tom that she was coming to meet me.
No one ever found any indication that Lynette was ever having an affair.
Becky provides other valuable information.
The only way she could get any money from her husband was to perform some sort of a sex act on him.
It had gotten by far worse, like beyond my wildest imagination. I would call it rape at best. She got to the point where she wanted to leave him regardless of anything because her children meant more to her and life meant more to her than committing a capital sin.
With no lover to hold responsible, police zero in on her husband. Their theory is that she might have decided to end their marriage.
I'm leaving.
What do you mean you're leaving? Hey! Hey! You think you can take my kids and leave?
I'm going to my mom's.
You're not going nowhere!
There was a fight in the driveway of the Craft home between Lynette and Tom, and it was pretty loud to where, you know, the neighbors were concerned for Lynette.
They pressed Tom for more information.
Lynette just ran into the house. I followed her in. It got a little ugly.
After pushing the issue a little bit, I said, what really happened with Lynette?
His answer will turn the case on its head.
I would be depressed if I went through what she went through.
He said, I tried to defend myself.
You'll never touch me again.
Ohio police are investigating how Lynette Craft's body ended up in dumpsters across Michigan. When her husband, Tom, drops a bombshell.
She came at me with the knife. She was hysterical. What are you doing?
You'll never touch me again.
He said, I tried to defend myself.
Hey, stop!
And it cut my finger, and I did notice he had a Band-Aid on his right index finger.
And then what?
Then she cried. She felt so bad to have hurt me, to have cut my hand.
Sorry, I'm just a terrible wife. I really so much better. Forgive me.
She just stabbed herself right in the heart with that knife.
No.
So I ran over, but it was too late.
Thomas thought she committed suicide because she was on and off her medication and that she was being seen by a psychiatrist. And he just said she had a lot of mental issues going on.
To spare her devout Catholic parents the final indignity of losing their daughter to suicide, Tom covered it up by disposing of her body.
They were very religious, and in their religion, if you kill yourself, you're not going to go to heaven. So that's when he decided to, unfortunately, cut her up.
He wanted to save us from the torture of knowing that Lynette had committed suicide.
Given the state of the house, suicide seems very plausible to police.
During the search, we found numerous small notes that Lynette had written, and a lot of notes said how unhappy she was, how unhappy in her marriage she was.
Upon us looking through all those notes, we put together that she was just depressed and, what she had been going through for years.
Except it's unclear if she really was mentally ill.
We talked to neighbors that would say we would see her when she was on her medication, and when she'd get off her medication for a week or two and we'd see her and talk to her again, we didn't notice any change. So it was so hard to tell if she seriously needed to take the medication or if this was something that was kind of being forced on her by her husband.
Family and friends also think it's preposterous that she would take her own life.
She wouldn't miss church on Sunday, much less commit a mortal sin of killing herself. And she didn't like the sight of blood, so the last thing she's going to do is stab herself in the chest with a knife.
Forensic evidence proves them right.
When they sprayed the luminol, it lit up like a Christmas tree. You could see large amounts of blood in the kitchen, what appeared to be drag marks going down the hallway. You could actually see footprints with the luminol.
Our blood samples taken from the Craft home matched the DNA of Lynette Craft.
The autopsy also reveals Tom lied to police.
When we located her severed head, she had bruising all over her face.
Did you beat your wife, Mr. Craft?
She had been brutally beaten and stabbed a dozen or so times in the face while she was still alive.
I told you everything already.
That means that she could not have committed suicide, that Tom's story could not be true.
On July 1st, 1999,
What is this?
37-year-old Thomas Craft is charged with Lynette's murder.
I don't think Thomas thought that she was having an affair and she just walked away. He was just trying to build some sort of a cover story or an alibi for himself that he had nothing to do with Lynette's disappearance.
You're not going nowhere!
To police and prosecutors, it's clear what happened.
Let go of me! Let go of me! I'm leaving you and I'm taking the kids!
You're going nowhere!
He stabbed her to death in the kitchen, took her downstairs or into the utility room area, and then dismembered her body. Put her body parts in garbage bags, and then transported her to various locations in Michigan to throw her body parts into the dumpsters.
Prosecutors would like to push for murder one, but there's a problem.
We weren't able to find the entire body. It made it very difficult to actually say what the cause of death was.
And without her torso, they're not sure they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he killed her. Tom is offered an Alford plea, not an admission of guilt, but an acknowledgement the state's case against him is strong. And he takes it.
They had to lower it to second-degree murder. He'd already served almost a year in jail awaiting trial, so he was going to have no punishment for the dismemberment.
On April 19th, 2000, Thomas Craft is sentenced.
He took the deal and got sentenced to 12 years.
He is released in June 2011.
He's gotten happily married all over again. I hope that he's turned over a new leaf and stays in Ohio. I know that he doesn't want to go back to prison, so I don't think he's going to do something stupid.
It is difficult for prosecutors to win murder convictions in the absence of a body. In this case, though, there is plenty of proof that Tom is the cause of Lynette being deceased. This was a winner all day long, and I'm very disappointed that they didn't try the case.
Tom's short sentence had to be devastating for the children and the family members of Lynette because her life is over. She doesn't ever get to live again. Tom is out, Tom is free, Tom is doing whatever he wants. And so to know that on a daily basis is almost like reopening the wound on a daily basis.
Lynette's sons grow up with their grandparents. On the Quast side,
They all are living happily in Wisconsin and doing really well.
Lynette's family miss her dearly, but find some solace in faith and the belief that she is in a better place.
I'm very proud of her. She raised a beautiful family, and she can look down at us from heaven and see that she has wonderful boys and 3 grandchildren, and we're all doing well. She lived hell on earth, and now gets the rewards of living the right life that God asked her to do.
She's an amazing person that sacrificed her life to save her children and to give her children a better life, one without Tom.
Oh my God, I think about her almost every day. I miss her terribly.